Yeah, and just in general, just discussing everything that's going on as far as yeah, I even kind of forgot what we're
Oh
talking
no,
about as
no,
well.
no, no,
Yeah.
no. We'll dive into it, man. We were talking about how they're knocking on doors now, and we don't know if it's true. We were talking about the masks. That's what it was. You know, um, you have to keep in mind, when you have an undercover cop who's working a case, who's playing the role like, yeah, man, I'll get you that drug. All right, he's gonna buy into it. Did you get on recording? That they're all undercover. Whenever they do a bust, if you ever notice, they wear masks or their faces are blurred out, or you'll see them at a long distance. Okay. And supposedly, what they say is if they're doing a bust, but they're still working the case. So, in other words, all right, we're after Victor and Henry. We got Victor, now we got to work on Henry. But like they're like the guys are busting you. Okay, they change their cars, everything. Everything gets changed, but their faces are always covered. Now, I don't know how you cover physique or anything like that. I could probably look at somebody's body like, damn, that dude is big, and then here I am getting ready to sell some drugs to this big guy. Like, hey, you look familiar. So I think what it is they're just protecting their identity because you know what? Just picture it right now, man. Like I'm a protester, and I haven't seen Victor in years, but here he is. He's iced now, and I'm like, get off of me, and I rip your mouth. Victor, ooh, now you got to worry about your life, your family, your livelihood. You got to move. You know what I'm saying? Because their information is going to be public without a doubt. Because they're looking at it like, we just put on masks and cover our faces, cover our identities, whatever the case is. Okay. Um. By the way, fun fact. I don't know if I told you this already, but that ICE agent that got hit, they're trying to say, he fought in Afghanistan. He married a Filipino wife that he brought over here, and all
Oh,
this
he
crazy
has a
stuff.
he has a
Yeah,
foreign wife.
yeah. He has a foreign wife. So uh, I didn't bother diving into it because you know what? Like all that's happening is social media is trying to throw things to make him look like the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? You and I are far from foreign because we're Puerto Ricans. We're from the island. Shared with the United States. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? But when you got women who have Haitian boyfriends, if you will, okay, because the immigration is not just for Mexicans, and I think that's what's going on here. What's going on is like is not just Mexicans, is anybody who doesn't belong here, and the way they're ciphering it, I don't know if you know about the ICE thing. California, they did pass this, and they passed it with the troopers and police. They could pull over anybody they want if they think they're not from here, which is wild. Like I think that's too much. Believe it or not, I think that's way too much than what ICE is doing. My
I
personal
just really
opinion.
quick, I have to interrupt you because once again, they're not just pulling people over that look Hispanic. And people need to understand this is why they always use me as an example,
Yeah,
specifically my friends and family, because they're like, well, you're Hispanic. How do you feel about this? It's just like, dude, they have targets. I'm not a
exactly.
target.
Exactly. That's what I'm
So if
saying.
someone, like you said,
Uh-huh.
like we were talking about earlier, if someone snitched on whoever, like, yo, I think he's suspect, they're going after targets. They're not
Yeah.
randomly people. If that was the case, the whole fucking California will be under scrutiny. Like they'll just line everybody up like it's a fucking Disney ride. Okay?
Exactly. Exactly. And the sad part is though, that's a situation you got to be careful with because um I hate to say this. This may come off wrong. People may misunderstand it. They may hate me for saying it. They may call me a racist or whatever. But dude, if you've been here for 2 years and you don't know a lick, a word of English, no, dude, then shit,
That's
come
a
on, man.
fucking problem.
You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, I believe I told you this before. When I worked in the school, a little girl, kindergarten, spoke no English, you know, but she just took me on like as if I was her uncle or something, man. You know what I'm saying? And By the time she was in, well, I've watched her get better and better with English. Okay, now it's graduation time. We're talking eighth grade. We're talking 8 years have passed. Okay, you got this? 8 years have passed. The mother and father still didn't know a lick of English at all. They like I would talk to them and they were like
It's
looking
a
at each other.
blatant disregard to like, and I deal with this with my grandfather and my grandmother. It's like y'all been here for fucking ever and you can't speak like you can't comprehend why? Because you're too prideful. And this is my family that I love dearly, and I will fucking die. I'll take a fucking knife, a bullet, whatever the fuck. I'll get tortured for
Mhm.
them. But the point is like, dude, y'all been here forever. Why can't I have a conversation with you? Why didn't you put the effort
Yep,
in
yep.
to understand the language? Now, I know it's a lot easier when you're in the Bronx because the majority in that area is all Hispanic and you don't need to speak English, etc. But the times were different, right? So we cannot take the past and say, okay, times are different now. Now we're in a situation where it's just like, dude, how can you take someone said one of the newscasters, they were like, so you're saying if they don't learn English, they shouldn't be a citizen? How are you going to read road signs? How are you
Dude,
gonna
listen,
detect the
man,
hazardous things?
bro, you asking the wrong person that
If I
question.
go to Japan really quick, it's probably in my best interest to learn Japanese.
Something, something, especially if you're gonna live there, something, because that's my
And
problem.
don't get me
Well,
wrong to the audience, I'm not degrading my grandparents. Like I
uh-huh.
said, I'll take, even though they're in their 80s, I will take a bullet for them. So just so they can live the rest of their life, I would die for them.
Listen,
But
listen.
yeah.
That's like an Asian restaurant. Go order your Chinese food. Okay. Yo, that is what people joke about on how Asian people sound. Oh no, why? Okay, why
Oh,
is this?
no, that's fine
But
though.
but you know
That's
what?
perfectly,
But this is
yeah.
what I'm saying. At least they learn the language. I don't care how it sounds. At least I get to understand them. At least they know what to say, when to say it, how to say it. You know what I'm saying? We got people here in this country that just don't take the time or bother, bro. It's
Well, they
like
have no respect.
exactly. It's like they create their own world in like they're not in the United States. They're still in their country, but we're banded together, living in one home or whatever. Okay. I'm not against them in the sense that, at least they come here, they want to work, it's not like they're loafing around or anything like that, but like, my thing is this, okay? You said that they target people, you know what I mean? I'm saying, yeah, like if they're not even talking English, hey, how long you been
Well,
here?
don't get me wrong, Henry, really quick, mode. Um, I'm not saying just targeting ethnicities, and I know you know that. I'm just
Yeah, yeah,
saying
yeah,
for the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
audience. I'm saying like they have a target, like they
Yeah.
actually have information. But go ahead, yeah.
Now, um, I will be the first one from real experience. Okay. This is a true story. The kid name was David Young. He was an Asian kid. I believe he was from Taiwan.
Hmm.
Okay. I was in fifth grade. Fifth grade. Okay. And I'll never forget the teacher. His name was Mr. Bass. Okay. Cool teacher. All right. I was book smart. I was a fucking nerd. I'm not gonna lie. I was what they I never forget. I never met an aggressive nerd before because I fought. I wasn't just a nerd behind books. If it was time to fight, I'm fighting. I wasn't scared to fight.
Nah, I hear you.
That was
Yeah.
just me. So like I'm just a very quiet guy. But needless to say, the teacher asked me if I can help him with English. This kid spoke no English. This is the fifth grade. By
That's
sixth grade,
crazy. Yeah.
by sixth grade, you could almost understand him, and he understood you. Dude, I had cards, bus, car, title, name, you know what I mean? And and I would put all these words together to produce a sentence. And before you know it, he was doing it. Before you know it, I'm invited to his house. I met his family and all of this and that. You know what I'm saying? And I'll never forget him. And dude, years have gone by, years. Fifth grade, don't forget. So fifth grade, you figure that's 1980. That had to be
Damn,
like
you're old.
yo, man.
I'm just
Come on.
kidding.
That's that Kevin Hart moment, you know? Like what?
I'm
You
just
know?
kidding, dude.
So here we are. Let's do 1980. Okay. By 1990, by 1993, well, yeah, but all three of my kids were already born. Okay. And my kid,
1993, you
yeah,
said?
1993, yeah, because
Okay,
my first kid was born in 90. Okay.
gotcha. Okay.
And I remember, I don't know if you remember Caldors on Central Avenue
Say that again?
in Yonkers, Central Avenue. You had a place called Caldors. I mean, you might have been super young, but my
Super
ex,
young, bro. Like, give me a little credit. I have like at least 2 to 3
hey
grays
man, you
here.
just called me old. It's just my comeback, bro. What the hell, bro?
No, I have not heard what you're saying though. No.
Okay, well, Caldors was a department store that was like, like
Cow doors.
yeah, Caldors.
No, yeah,
Okay.
no, I don't know.
And it
Yeah.
was in Yonkers. Who knows? It could have been a white store for all I because Yonkers was all white people at the time. You know what I'm
It
saying?
was. No, I remember
Yeah.
that.
And
Oh
I
yeah.
remember
I
I went,
liked being around Yonkers. Weird, but I'm just saying.
yeah, I'm just saying. I, I, it was me and my black friend, man, Doug. Okay. That all we did was ride bikes.
Outdoors. That sounds
And
so. I'm all right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
so I go to pick her up, right? And dude, I would never forget. I used to call Cal to the service desk and say those derogatory words, like, what was it? I can't remember what it was. Um, yeah, can you page my buddy Butts, Mr. Butts? Okay, Mr.
Oh,
Butts,
that's
what's the first
funny,
thing? Seymour. And then you would hear them say, Seymour Butts,
bro.
can you come to yeah, I was that dude, man, on a fucking payphone, mind you,
I
okay?
had. I
And
have a
and
good friend that did the
and
same
I
shit.
remember I hung up the phone and I looked over to my right, and there he goes. And I go, yo, David? And he looked at me, yo, that dude ran to me, hugged me, crying. So thank you. Yo, and his English was like astounding, bro. Like, I was like, yo, I would have never known. A little broken, but a kid could have understood him, And that was the first time in my life where I felt so accomplished with something, And at the time I was doing music at the time too, but like that touched me more than anything. And ever since that time, I just developed this hard problem with people that come here and don't learn the language. Dude, he learned English in the fifth grade within that year. It's not even a year. What the school is, what, 10 months, whatever it is. Okay. In 10 months, this guy's learned the English. Sixth grade, we hung out and talked more English. I didn't even have to teach him. He was learning now. Okay.
Well, check this out. I'm sorry. Did you have more to say for that?
No,
Because
no.
yeah,
My
like
point is
so.
this: if you're here, learn the language, man. Please, that's all I ask, man.
And
And,
what's interesting with Osmond Gold, I admire him. I don't know him personally, obviously. He's a streamer, one of the biggest streamers, and I just found him. Like I literally I seen him here and there, and what I don't like is when streamers think they know everything, obviously, but he doesn't ever come off that way. Like if you actually watch him, it, he says some pretty compelling things. Even as a atheist, which I think he is, I don't think he believes in God, and there's a point why I'm mentioning this. So he said something the other day that made a lot of sense. He was analyzing Tim Walz, the state of
Mhm.
Minnesota, and he's like, Tim Walz is speaking. He's like, we have such a diverse state. We have a diverse community where you can go into a school and they speak 50 languages. And when he said 50 languages, brother, he meant it.
Yeah,
So Osmond Gold, I'll let you have it in a second. So Osmond Gold came and he's just like I was doing, just like baffled. He was just like, hold on a second. Isn't that wildly confusing for the fucking teachers trying to educate our students? And not only that, this is like the boom, punch to the gut. Are you familiar with the Tower of Babel? I'm sure you are.
yeah, 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 yeah.
They try to build the biggest fucking thing to reach the heavens. And what did God do? Confuse them with all
Different languages.
languages.
Yep.
So is that a good thing? Okay, so now we're trying to build a community, but no one could talk to each other. Yeah, that makes a lot of fucking sense. And Osmond Gold was so on point with that. I was just like, this dude, like, yo, bro, it made so much sense. I have not had a full conversation with my grandmother and my grandfather. Why? It's not because I refused to learn Spanish. The thing is that when I was a teenager, I left. I was living everywhere. I could have learned Arabic, fucking Jamaican, all these languages.
Hmm.
But I was consistent with the American language. Why? Because I was a rapper. You know, this is after we
Yeah.
split our ways. I was gone. Kentucky, Virginia. I was fucking all over the place. But I was consistent with my American language, and that's how I
Hmm.
was able to survive.
Hmm. It's interesting you say that because
Osman, I have to give him credit for that.
first off, I would like to just let you know, please send me that video. I would definitely
Oh,
like
I will. Yo, yeah,
to,
absolutely.
because just when you said 50 languages, I started to think about the tower they try to build in the
In a
not even
school?
in the heavens, you know what I mean?
Can you imagine, Henry? People coming in like, or like
Yep.
whatever the fuck is just like, huh? You're
Exactly,
trying to pick up
exactly.
who? I don't even know what the
Exactly.
fuck you're
Now,
saying.
fun fact, when I worked in the schools, I didn't speak a lick of Spanish, like I vaguely understood it, because, I didn't, feel the need to, or growing up, my parents, or if I'm at my grandmother's house and she speaks dominantly Spanish, okay, but she speaks English, okay? And
You said your grandmother?
my grandmother, yeah, she spoke English,
Gotcha. Okay.
a broken English, and so did my grandfather. Okay. And whenever they was talking in Spanish, that was my time to leave, because obviously that's a conversation they didn't want me to know. So I just never learned it, you know.
Yeah, that's
My
so
my
funny.
grandmother and great grandmother on my father's side, okay, my grandmother on my father's side, you know, you want to talk about broken English, that was it. But I learned to adapt, you adapt to it. Okay. My great grandma, on the other hand, she didn't understand English, nothing, and she was just mean, old and mean. But the point is that I worked in a school where it was dominantly Spanish people, and you know that. You went to that school also.
Hmm.
You see a white dude there, like, I wonder what he up to. You know what I mean? But
That's what I was saying. Like the majority was
yeah.
white and Asian.
Now,
The minority, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Yes.
Now, when after about 2 years, I adapted to the Spanish language. I communicated with people. I understood them to a certain degree. Like I can't deal with the people like mira, like talking about man. Whoa, whoa, slow down, bro.
Dominicans.
That's too fast for me. But you want to hear something funny? And I will share this with no shame. When I left the job, I was back to like damn near square one. So here we are. We're gonna go to this country, this English country, if you will, this English speaking country, okay? And you're here for 5, 6 years, and you don't adapt to the language. Like that makes absolutely no sense to me, bro.
Take it further. You're not only here not adapting, but now you're demanding that people speak Spanish.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
my
I
grandmother and my grandfather, from what I understand, they didn't demand anyone to do anything. All they wanted to do was make their money, all right, do their thing from Puerto Rico, so they're not illegal immigrants. You know, they're here legally with the rest of my family. but I have a other side of my family that I would never put them on the spot, but they were, and I'm not saying now, but they were illegal and they were taking advantage of the system. And I didn't know that until now that I actually have education on like, wow, this is not good for our country. You want to know why, Henry? Because what if I just said, you know what, Henry? Man, you're like a brother, right? It's just like me and Maya show up to your doorstep tomorrow. Can you support us both? Be
Hmm.
honest. Can you
No.
support a grown man and a fucking 13-year-old that eats through a house and home? Like, can you afford us? Pay for my gas, pay for my
No.
shoes, pay for why not? Why not?
I'm shit.
Are you racist?
No, I'm not racist. It's just like
Why, you
no.
don't like you don't like men or women? Like what's your
Well,
problem?
hold on. Let me
Henry,
take.
no, 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 no.
Wait,
Get to
wait,
the
wait.
point. What are you, racist? You don't like other people? Like, you're not gonna take us. I'm not gonna let you answer. Fuck your dogs. You need to feed your dogs. You need to feed us. You understand how crazy this shit sounds?
You're right. You know what? You're absolutely right. But I
There
would
ain't
like.
no but. Henry, we're
I,
coming tomorrow.
I,
Oh, you laugh all you want. We're
I'll help your
coming.
daughter out because she's a kid. Okay,
I
she
know
can
you
sleep.
would.
She
I
can
know you
sleep in
would.
the car, bro.
I don't want to sleep in the car though. That's racist. You're a
You know,
racist.
that's an interesting point you're saying there. Okay, let's talk about that for a minute. I can bet anybody, anybody, my whole paycheck, for the month, fuck it, for the month, I would take them to areas in New York alone where neighborhoods are very diverse. You ready for the names? Burnside,
Hmm.
Washington Heights, Little China. Okay, you go in a store. Is it? I think it's a store, not a store in Queens. I can't think what part of Queens. It's where I lived at, where you have Greeks. Okay, where you will go into a store like, hey, yo, how much is this? And he'll give you the price in English. That's it. Don't even try to have a conversation with the dude. Okay, because now it's just scan and go. So I can imagine how
They're
amazing.
tribal.
You know what I'm saying? But Burnside, my grandmother lived on Valentine, which like literally her building connected right to Burnside. Okay, before it turned into Tremont and all of this and that. Okay, Webster and all that. Burnside from Valentine all the way up to like damn near, I would say University. Okay, University Ave, maybe up to Jerome, like is dominantly Spanish stores, bro, and they don't speak a lick of English, and it's so fucking annoying, bro.
And they get frustrated with people like myself that can't speak it
And that's
because
my
it's my
point.
fault.
That's my point. And I'll say it loud. Okay. You cannot come to me who has lived here, born here, grew up here as a fucking adult and tell me, oh, you Puerto Rican and you don't speak the language? Shut up, bro. Shut up. Yo, I've had that for years in 95, for years. Like, oh, you called yourself Puerto Rican. That's not and I'm telling I can't even give you a number, but 13 years in that place, and that's what I got. You call yourself a Puerto Rican and you can't speak the language. And I'm thinking, my response after a while, after, growing some balls, because, I was always afraid I was going to get in trouble, at my job. I just came out and said, dude, I was born here. This is the English language we speak. That's what you should be speaking. Okay. So don't put me down. I'm Puerto Rican and I'm proud. Period. Leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? Whether I speak Spanish or not. My parents are descendants of Puerto Rico, so on and so on and so on.
That's it.
Okay.
And you know
So
what? Really quick, when I moved to Kentucky, which was a wild, wild move for me. I don't
I
even know
can
what I was
imagine.
just trying to, bro, I was trying to just chase my dream, bro. Louisville, Kentucky. I told my boy Sammy Sandoval, he's a Salvadorian. And I told him, I was like, yeah, let's go do it. And we try to make something of ourselves. But when we would go to the pool halls and shit, and there's Salvadorians and Ecuadorians, all short as fuck, right? They already knew I wasn't a part of their actual culture because
Uh-huh.
I was the tallest fucking man in the room, and I'm not even trying to sound funny. That's just what it
I know,
was.
I know, I know.
This dude literally tried to fight me. I remember it. Like I could put it into like one day, obviously, I mean, I probably wrote about it, but when I put it into actual movie theme or whatever, like this dude was genuinely angry with me. Like he tried to fight me, and his other boys were holding him back because he was obviously, in my view, coked out of his mind, drunk out of his mind. I've never done cocaine. I'm not trying to say that anyone who has done it is wrong. I'm just telling you me
Yeah,
personally.
yeah,
Like I never messed around with that shit, but they were all doing that. And the dude kept putting his finger up at me. He's like, "Tú no hablas español. Tú no hablas español. Tú no," and he kept like repeating it, and I'm like, "Bro, like at that time I could have kicked his ass." But he had a lot of homies, so that I wasn't
yeah.
kicking anyone's ass. Like him, yeah, by himself. But I was just like, Sammy. And what's crazy is that we lived, think about your apartment complex and a 7-Eleven across the street. That's how close we were.
Yeah.
So I told Sammy, I'm like, dude, we might want to walk like way
Take the long
around
way
to
home.
make,
Take
yo,
the long
dude,
way.
yo, Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, for anyone that's listening, for anyone that knows about it, at that time when I was living there, this was after 9/11, from 2004, 2003, around that time, 2002 to 2004. I was in and out of the state. That was my first driver's license that I got, not even in New York. My first
Wow.
driver's license was in Louisville, Kentucky, and I failed it twice. The third time I got it because maybe it was because I was Hispanic. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. I don't care. But that was the most scariest racist shit that I've ever been through. Bro, I was discriminated against with blacks, whites, and Hispanics or Latino
Mm-hmm.
Americans.
Yep.
Go fucking figure. It got
Yep.
so severe, bro, where I had to move out. I had to go. I was just like, dude, this is dangerous. I'm gonna wind up dead.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't
Mm-hmm.
have cell phone.
Now,
Well, we had cell phones, but nothing. Like,
I,
no,
I, I,
dude.
I want to tell it to you like this, okay? If for whatever reason me and you, let's just say me and you, hey Vic, man, I'm tired of technology, man. Let's get away from this, man. I know how to. And you'd be like, no, I'm not living in the mountains in a log cabin with you, bro. Like, no, no, man. I found an awesome Amish community. Oh, yeah, we could do that probably.
Hmm?
Okay. So we decide to go. Guess what? We are going to have to adapt to that lifestyle if we want to have that lifestyle. Okay. So we're gonna, be sitting out there with horses and plowing the damn fields and all that stuff, because it's a choice. You mean to tell me that if you come from somewhere else with a different language, you're just coming here for what? The freedom? To do whatever the hell you want, to get free benefits and all that, and
You
not learn the 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 the, the language? It
I couldn't
doesn't
have
make
said it better.
sense.
Yo, I could,
You couldn't
yo.
do it. Amish people to this day, bro, rides horses and carriages, bro. That's how they roll. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like that show, the Omni show, being Omnish or whatever it's called. My wife watched it. She enjoyed it. You know what I mean? And I caught little snippets of it. Okay, and these are kids, over 18, in their 20s or whatever, and they're like, yeah, I watch TV. I want to live that life, you know. And whether it be staged or not, it's just interesting to see how they cannot compete with the American life. You know what I'm saying? Some do, some got into drugs, some, messed up, some wound up going back to the Amish community. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But my point is if you're willing to make a change, if you're in a effed up country, man, and you just got to get out of there. You know, you're in Cuba, I can't do this. You're in Colombia, I can't. You're in Haiti, you know, these 11-year-olds are now walking around with guns. You know what I mean? Like, you want to get away, and you feel for a moment, I got to get to the United States. How am I going to do this? Like, let me just, hide in the hull of the boat. You know what I mean? Or let me swim and make sure I land, on that sand because that's how it is. I don't know if you know that. Like, if you swim to the United States, okay, as long as you hit that sand, they cannot touch you. You are now part of the United States. Though you're not a citizen. But if they get you while you're still in the water, you get deported. Go
All
figure.
right, so I'm gonna end my point of view with this one right here because what you're saying makes all of sense. And as far as like the swimming concept, I have to look into that. Not that I don't trust what you're saying, but
Now,
that is
no,
very
this
interesting.
this was
Like,
years ago. Look it up in
no,
Miami.
yeah, absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
notorious here in
So
Florida.
hear me out though. Hear me out though. This is where I'm gonna end my whole point of view. All right. And I've said this a million times and I'll keep repeating it. All right. If you want to come to the United States, and don't interrupt me just for a second, because
Okay.
yeah, I just want you to hear me out. If you come to the United States, it's in your best interest to learn English. Is it against the law not to? No, but it's in your best interest to learn the language
I
and to
like that.
learn our culture.
I like that.
Okay? That's all I'm saying. Go to Australia, to the fucking safari land, or go to an African jungle, whatever. And you know how people say, you could take me out the hood, but you can't take the hood out. Go over there and do that shit. Go
Hmm.
ahead. Go with a pistol, whatever the fuck you have. Go with your homies and all that. Because the jungle is going to swallow you up in a fucking instant. You think you're going to go to an Amazon jungle or to Australia and start setting parameters and rules like, yeah, lion hyenas, um, you shouldn't do that because it's the fuck you. They don't
Hmm.
care. They
Hmm.
don't fucking care. I use this analogy really quick. Let me finish. Like, the my buddy, he's a good buddy of mine. I love him. I'll say that. I love this dude. But he's such like, talking, and I'm like, a lion doesn't fucking he doesn't care. He's gonna eat you.
Hmm.
Go into a lion, he doesn't care. You're in a different culture. So you're saying because they're human, they have to adapt because they no. No. You're in a whole different
Hmm.
world, brother.
Yep.
If you go to the desert where the sun is scorching the fucking earth, what are you gonna do? Protest that the sun shouldn't do that because it's not fair? Good
Uh-huh.
luck. Go to Florida. That's why I
Hmm.
don't like Florida, bro. It's too fucking hot. I'm sorry. I don't care. I don't care. It's too fucking hot. I don't like it. But because I don't like it and Trump is in office or whoever, it's just like, we need to fix this because I live here now and I'm going to protest against the sun. Good luck, bro. What we're doing as comfortable, right? Very comfortable American citizens. We all live like fucking kings and queens here. It don't matter what circumstance you're going through. We are very comfortable
Yep.
to the point where we're ready to protest the sun and expect the sun to change its course. Why are you here at 7 o'clock? You need to come here at 8 o'clock because it is way too fucking early. Good luck with that. And the same rules apply when it comes to cultures and people that respect American culture. I
Hmm.
respect American culture. So if you're going to come into the United States and try to prioritize yourself over me because you're fleeing from what? That's
Well,
all I
you,
have to
you
say.
you you know what? You know what? That was good. That was deep, bro. I'm gonna tell you something. That was very deep. Um, I feel the same way. Okay. Um, what I think is happening is people are getting misinformed, or they think, oh, the United States, it's a free state. We can do whatever we want. Who knows? Okay. So here you escape from a country that, if you fuck around, you find out, type place, get beheaded, get shot, you
And
know.
I'm
Uh, uh, uh,
sympathetic
uh,
towards that.
the example of, going into a jungle that's ginormous, but you're right, like as soon as, hey, I'm going to visit Africa, oh, you're going to go to the jungle? Like, probably not, man. I just want to visit Africa, check it out, But this this is all about fuck around and if we find out, okay? People do things that are stupid, okay? Again, like Renee, okay? She did something stupid. Fuck around, she found out, unfortunately. I hate to bring it up, man. Huge fan, Steve Irwin, you know, he went, this is how it is. Let's think about this. This is how it is. He went from kangaroos, alligators, doing stuff that he knew. Let's just say going to the waters, going to another country, messed around with a stingray. He found out. You feel what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Okay. This girl found out. She did something stupid. You know, it's
Who protested
unfortunate.
the stingray, bro?
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So, like, again, if you're an immigrant, I don't have nothing against you. Just do things right. What I do have against is the government taking care of it. I'm highly against that. I got missing teeth. I'm all, like, I do the best I can to take care of myself because I can't even afford insurance, bro. But they got it. How?
That's the
Like,
dude.
I mean, that's a whole
That's
different
the
topic,
point. That's
honestly.
no,
But
it's not a different topic. That's the fucking point that I'm trying to make. You cannot prioritize legal and illegal immigrants, period. Over
exactly,
us, dude, you're taking the money away from us to help people. And you know what they do? They're like, well, you're American, you have it made. Yeah, we may have it made, but you're unmaking it by bringing in people. Look, help them. But the thing is that is Tim Walls. Have you seen his house, bro? Have you seen
no,
Tim Walls' house?
no,
Fully gated, like 15-foot fucking fence.
really.
Huge house. Why can't you bring them into your house? That's the thing. Kings used to be on the front line. Genghis Khan, all these people, front line. Now we have cowards that are like, bring them in. Why can't they come to your house? I'm fucking over it, bro. And any one of my friends, family, whoever that wants to defend this bullshit, bring them into your house, not mine.
Hmm.
Stop taking my money. Stop taking me to court and say, well, Mr. Ramirez, you owe this. I don't owe a fucking thing. You want to talk about rebelling?
Yep,
Dude,
yep, yep. You know
whole
what?
other conversation for another day. We have 60 minutes and 60 seconds. I'm going to let you take the reign, brother.
Listen, man. Just stay real. You know what I'm saying? There's so much to talk about still. You know,
But close it
uh,
out. Yeah.
this Renee situation. Let's be realistic, man. Is there? There's no rebuttals about it. The video is there. Okay. Whether this man did, what's he doing in front of the car? Look, it doesn't matter. That could have been me crossing the street. You know, she would have took off. And remember, there was a car there. I could have came around with my camera just to, oh, I want to get likes on my YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? And here, this car's just gonna run me over. There's so much at stake with what's going on. But you know what? Everybody's just too fooled and blinded because social media, news, what you say, what I say, people are just gonna have their own. I'm not even gonna say opinions. They're very factual. They believe this happened.